kind of consciousness do we have? Another question. What kind of God do you worship? What kind of religion? What kind of religion do you have? Are you a member of an African religion? Are you praising the gods that African people praised before they got to America? How dare you then say that you have escaped the effects of slavery? Slavery has nothing to do with you when you pray to a God given to you by your masters. And we can go on and on, one right after the other. What does that mean then? The things that are the very structures of our minds and bodies, the way we eat, the way we worship, the way we talk, the way we dress, all those kind of things, what? Implanted into the emptiness and the space that was left once the original culture was ripped out of our souls and minds. How can we say then, in the sense then slavery was not just a use and exploitation of our labor, it was a transformation of our very essence as a people. And it is not us who speaks through our mouths and acts with our bodies, but an implantation of another people's consciousness, a consciousness that's designed to serve their interests, and yet we dare to call it us and to identify with it. And you wonder then why we destroy ourselves, why we defeat ourselves, why we do everything that seems to work against our interests. We are not doing it ourselves because we are not ourselves. We have permitted ourselves to be so possessed, and we have identified with the demons that possess us. We have some people who say, I'm free, I can do what I want to do. Why in your freedom? And why when you do what you want to do, you always do that which enriches white folk? Why is it everything you want, they own? And you buy it from when? Them. Yeah. Is that coincidence? Doing what one wants to do is not the essence of freedom until one comes to recognize whether what they want to do has been implanted in them by somebody else who's created those wants in them. And when you, in doing what you want to do, and doing what you want to do always enriches someone else and impoverishes yourself, that's a sure sign that those others have produced those wants in your personality. This is where we are today. So when we talk about self-hatred, even when we talk about self-love, we got to be careful. Let's look at self-hatred for a minute. That demon. As I talk about personality in our upcoming publication, I talk about personality as an instrument of power. It's just not the way you behave. It's just not the way you deal with the world per se. It's not what we say, just me. That's the way I am. You hear some people say that. That's just me. You know? Personality is a social product. It's created in part. One of the things it does is to direct aggression. Those objects we hate, those objects toward which we are hostile, we tend often, if we can, to act aggressively against them, and often to destroy them, if possible, to repress them, to damage them, to restrict them in some sort of way. That's one of the functions of hatred. You see, it directs aggression and generates aggression. Then you must ask the question, if hatred helps to direct aggression, to channel aggression, then what happens when a person is engaged in self-hatred? Right? It means then that when they have strong aggressive feelings and strong feelings of hostility generated by frustration and other kinds of things, and they wish to express that hostility, who are they going to express it toward? Toward the self. Toward the self. And therefore, when your skin becomes your most hated object, when your hair becomes your most hated object, when your lips and your nose become your most hated object, when being African is your most hated state of being, when these are the objects of your hatred, when you get mad and frustrated and upset, these will be the objects of your attack. And unfortunately, they're the very objects that create your own body and self. And therefore, a people who are engaged in self-hatred are a people who ultimately must engage in self-destruction. You cannot hate who you are and what you are, and ultimately not in some way be engaged in destruction of yourself. But that's not ultimately what self-hatred is about. That's not ultimately why self-hatred was implanted in the black psyche by the ruling white elite. One of the major things it does, self-hatred does, is to direct aggression away from its sources. You see? White folk make us mad. White folk have talked about us, make us feel bad about ourselves, make us doubt our own abilities and capacities. But why don't we attack white folk? Why isn't our major goal to destroy white folk? I get a little weakness there, don't I? That's right. Why is not the objective of black men to bring down white men and crush them to the ground? Why is your highest aspiration to be a second banana to a white boy? Why are we as men placing the responsibility for the feeding and clothing of our children in the hands of white men? Why should they determine whether we shall be fed or not? What kind of men are we to stay around here and beg and cavil in front of these white boys and let them determine the direction of our lives? Why is it then that we are the only people we can shoot and kill? And then talk about how the white folk, what the white folk do to us? It's cowardice. It's fear. It's misdirected consciousness. Yes. So that has been an ingenious implantation of self-hatred into the psyche of black people. So when we get angry, we don't get angry at the people who are the cause of our hatred, the people who are the source of our hatred, people who set the whole doggone thing up. We get angry at the next door neighbor or the one next to us, or with each other, and we kill each other, and we destroy each other, and we sell poison to each other, and we hurt each other. What a smooth system, because that system protects the white man from whom? Us. And that's why it was implanted in the first place, to protect the white man from his own dirty handiwork.